Okay.
Hi, I'm Carl Lucci with the I Refuse to Fail Partnership. And at our weekly free networking events, we have one of our partners talk about something that they really know about and they want to share with you that's all educational. And then we will stop the recording and we will post that on LinkedIn and various social media places like that so people can still see the follow-up if they weren't able to make it to our events. That being said, if you'd ever like to attend one of our events, you can go to irefuseToFail.com, fill out a form, and we will send you an invitation to join. So with that, I think Oleg is going to talk a little bit about AI today, and I tell you, he has blown my mind with some of the stuff he's turned me into a monster. I'm now playing with AI like crazy. So Oleg, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you have the floor for 15 minutes, okay?
Thank you. So basically, I think I'm going to talk because I don't know everybody's level on AI and everything else. I think I'm going to talk in a little bit of a generality, in generalities here, and also share a couple of little things. So one of the things that a lot of people are doing with AI is they don't know what they're doing with AI. I mean, they're just doing it wrong. And so a lot of people, what they do is they go and they ask a question and they get an answer, and they think that's the extent of, dealing with AI. You just get whatever answer you need. And it's definitely one of the ways to access AI, but definitely not the best way to handle it. AI is much better when you're talking to it as an assistant of yours that is very, very savvy in whatever subject you want it to be savvy in. So the first thing you need to do when you talk to AI is you need to tell it what you want it to act as. Now, you don't just ask it questions. You don't say, write me an email. You can, it'll do it, but it's not going to be anything exceptional. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to say, I want you to act as a very professional, seasoned, experienced, whatever words you want to use, writer, and I'd like you to draft an email regarding blah, blah, blah. So the blah, blah, blah part is super important because if you think about little children, that's the best way to describe it. When you talk to them, they don't know anything basically when they start their life. They just, empty head basically. But as the time goes by, they learn things and then they become smarter and smarter and smarter. Same thing with, anybody. It's not just kids. It's just kids absorb it a lot quicker. With AI, it's similar, I should say, because it doesn't know anything that you're actually specifically want to talk about. If you want to talk about some kind of condition or some kind of situation that you're in, it doesn't know anything about it. It may know a lot about business, it may know a lot about writing, it may know a lot about graphics, but it has no clue about your situation. So what you want to do is you want to take a little bit of time to describe to it as if you were talking to a person who is going to be helping you, so they're aware of what's going on. As you describe the situation, not doesn't mean that you need to describe it in a novel where it takes you, 10 days to write whatever is going on, but you write some sort of paragraph or two describing, basically enlightening it in terms of what's going on and what you're trying to accomplish. That's the important thing. You tell it what you want to accomplish as the end result, and then you give it some additional information that it needs to be able to do so. So those are kind of main things. And then in terms of the actual end result, you need to tell it, what do you want? Do you want a letter with bullet points, executive summary type thing? Do you want a detailed report? Do you want some graphics to go with it? Do you want it to be an interactive presentation? Do you want to have some slides? In other words, you need to tell it what specifically the output you're trying to achieve, and then the thing will definitely gladly work with you to try to get it done. One of the things that I was like doing yesterday, like I'll give you a specific example because, like I said, this is pretty much generic, is I had this website I just built for a client, which is it's a little chocolate shop. And they have this absolutely stunning video that somebody shot, professional shot for them, that basically is being used. Their old site had it. The site actually sucked royally, but so I redid the site for them, but I kept the video because the video is just exceptional. I mean, it shows the steam coming out. It shows close up of the chocolate being poured, and I mean, it really gets how professionals do videos basically. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to create, I have another client I'm talking to right now, potential client at this point, and I want to be able to do their website. It has nothing to do with chocolates. I mean, completely different business. But what I did was I said, look at this website that I have with these chocolate people. Can you tell me I want to create the same exact vibe for a completely different business? So if you use something like Gemini, if you go to gemini.google.com, it can actually look and be able to tell something about videos. In other words, it's what they call multimodal, meaning it can do text, it can do graphics, it can do videos, and it actually understands it. It doesn't just grab video transcript, it actually looks as people look with their eyes and is able to make some determinations from that. So I said, look at this particular video and give me a text document that I can use to create a similar kind of vibe for this other website that I'm going to be doing. And the thing came back with just exceptional stuff. It gave me, I said, by the way, I'd like to use my Pixel 7 phone. And it says, great, it's got really good camera. You should be able to use the zoom mode. You should be able to use, make sure you shoot everything in 60 FPS. Change these settings in your camera, whatever you do. Everybody does it. People just don't know that the defaults are not the best. And so the idea being that it told me exactly, I mean, precisely what I need to do in terms of my own camera to shoot a video in this other business and then make it look very similarly in terms of emotional aspect of it when people watch it to be part of this new website. Okay. And so that's an example of working with something that understands photography, understands video, understood this particular website, video that was on there. It understands all of this. So you're having a conversation. You're telling it a little bit what you're trying to do. You're telling it what your end result is supposed to be. Okay, and then it comes back with this really remarkable thing. So that's one thing in terms of working with AI. Second thing is remember that AI can do tremendous amount of research on your behalf. So instead of you spending hours trying to look for information, you can just tell it to go and use what they call deep research mode. And now most of the AI programs out there, the big ones, they all have this capability. Perplexity has it, Gemini has it, OpenAI's, ChatGPT has it. All of them have this deep research, and that goes out there. It takes a little while to do, but it's going to come back to you with very, very rich set of information and sources. They go through like dozens and dozens and dozens of sources, and then based on that, you get much, much, much better results in terms of what you're trying to accomplish. So that's one thing is we're talking about text. Another thing you can do is you can do graphics. Like I put together my own web app called PCSFX, which I'll just show you a quick demo here. But I have this custom prompt, and I can say something like, show me a networking meeting using photorealistic setup in a modern office in a skyscraper with someone doing a presentation. Okay, so I'm gonna say just generate this. Now, as you can see, I actually gave it decent amount of information. So it's not gonna just generate some stuff. It's generated people in a skyscraper doing a presentation. It's a networking meeting, and that's what it generated for me. Okay, and so then what I can do is I can swap that image with this one, and I can say now give it to me in let's see, it'd be a good one in this Russian art style. And it comes up and looks like, come on. Anyway, well, it's working here. Yeah. So it comes up looking like this. So you can see it still has elements of people, all of that, but it created this really elaborate, that's what this effect looks like. And I can tell it that I want to take and put the same image on something like a piece of wood. I can put it on a piece of metal. I can put it, I'll show you in a second, on a leaf. So the bottom line being there's all kinds of stuff you can do with AI in terms of graphical things if you know what to do or using one of these apps like this. Okay, so over here I'm going to go and use the leaf art as an effect, and you'll see it looks totally different. The bottom line being that whatever you're trying to generate for your business, whatever you need to create, you can create using this program, or you can create it using, if you go to just Gemini, it'll create it for you too. You see this leaf over there? I mean, you see the picture of people inside. Look how cool this image looks. Now, this is something that was created in a matter of 5, 7 seconds. Can you imagine how long it would take somebody who's talented? I'm not talented, but somebody who's talented to be able to draw something like this. And this is the power of AI to be able to quickly create information that you need to use for social media, for your website, for blog, for basically anything you need to create, you can create using this. I need to create a logo, for example, my program, one of the things I put in is logos. So I have this logo design. So if I give it a topic, like networking as the topic, and the text, I will say, I don't know, we'll say Colleen. There we go. I don't want her to feel left out. And I just put these two things in there. And now what it's going to do is going to generate a logo. Okay. And it looks like this. Okay. So at this point, what I can do is I can click do that again, and it's going to use the same information, but come up with something different. Every one of these effects you see, every time I hit this, let's do that again, it's going to come up with a different variant of the same thing. Okay. And so this is true of all these effects. Okay. And this, as you can see, is totally usable. I mean, I can then drop this thing on the other side with a click. I can go to this, one of my favorite, do a stone sculpture, and look what it does with this once it gets done. So the bottom line being, when people say, AI doesn't have any creativity, if you use it and if you do these little prompts like that, or you use my program here, look at this. Look at what it generated on the right side. I mean, tell me this is not an impressive looking piece of graphics there, okay? And you can stick your logo on there. I mean, I did this logo, you can put your logo on there. So you can create graphics, you can create text, you can create music if you want. I mean, there's programs that create music. So there's a lot of things you can do with AI. And finally, I'm going to wrap up. I don't know how much time I have left, but I'm going to wrap up by saying that, if you have some sort of a need or a question, don't try to go ask Joe or Mary or anybody else. Ask AI. If you just want to have a conversation, I'm going to a meeting tomorrow with a potential client. Tell me this is the kind of client it is. The guy's a little bit on the rough side, but seems like a decent guy from our first meeting. How should I approach this? What should I do? And the thing, if you do a little bit of time at teaching it, and when I say teaching, you basically set up what they call custom instructions, where you tell it a little bit about yourself, about who you are, what you've done, things like that. So it knows when it talks to you, it knows it. Tons of times it tells me, with you being an IT guy, you probably will benefit from blah, blah, blah. So it actually knows me. It knows sufficient amount of stuff about me to be able to suggest things dealing with whatever topic I'm asking, but specifically based on me, not based on just general information. And so you can have these kind of, for interviews, for jobs, you can have it play devil's advocate if you want, and do interview for you. You can have it do almost anything. Like I said, think of it as this incredibly, incredibly potent assistant that can help you with almost everything. Okay? It can't walk yet, but that's coming. And that's what AI does these days. A lot of people are, definitely don't like it because it's going to take a lot of jobs away and things like that. But that's where we live.
Okay, great, Oleg. I mean, it just blows my mind, some of the stuff. Great presentation. And I tell you, if you haven't met with Oleg, you need to meet with Oleg. And Oleg, give them the name of your website just so everybody can contact you if they want to reach you through your website.
Yeah, my website is pcs-works.com.
Okay,
And
pcs-works.com.
yeah,
Okay,
and
great.
you're welcome to
All
reach me.
right. So we're going to tie this up, and like I said, if anybody wants to, talk about their business and think about being maybe an I Refuse to Fail partner, be happy to have you come in and check out our free events and ask us how you might become a partner, so you can get more of your information out there. And with that, I'm going to stop this recording, and we'll talk to you all later. Thanks again, Oleg.
My pleasure.